All right, this is episode 3 of the Uncommon Dialogue podcast. I'm Lance Yatuma. I'm here with Caleb, the zoologist barista, who recently got famous on the Good News Movement Instagram page. Thanks for coming on.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, so I guess I just want to start off first was one of the questions I asked you in one of our direct message chats on Instagram was, for our viewers, how did you get blown up on there? Because I remember like seeing your page like almost immediately, and you had like maybe 1,300 followers, and then now you're probably at 12,000 followers in like a matter of a couple weeks, really.
Yeah. So, funny thing about that is that picture, that post is actually 3 years old now. It initially actually went viral February, I think 20th of 2018. But during that time, I didn't have like any social media that I was using. So I guess just like people really didn't have anywhere to go to find me, I guess except for the store. And then I don't know why it got reposted. I don't know what triggered that, but it got reposted whichever day it was. And then my friends got a hold of it because I had a few of my friends that knew about my Instagram page, but the majority of them did not. And so the ones that did know started posting my at into the post. And then it actually drove my follower count from, I think it was 725 at the moment, up to the 11,000.
That's such a dramatic increase right there. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, just like anybody else, if I had I would never have found your page at all, or have reached out to you if it wasn't for that Good News Movement Instagram page. And I mean, I think with how politicized Instagram has become with people posting up all the political stories all the time, your page is actually really refreshing to look at. I mean, like your posts, and I mean, I could look at your post and I actually will read the entire description on through because I know like it's what I'm looking at. Like the post that I see of like a dog or a spider or an elephant, whatever type of animal, like your caption is basically about that animal. That's it. It's kind of refreshing right now for the times.
I honestly didn't even think of it like that, but that's very good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, like just for everybody to know, like the reason why we're doing it on Zoom is because I'm based in the Detroit area and you're in Tennessee, right?
Correct.
So what's your backstory? Backstory, like, you know, where'd you go to college?
My backstory. So I went to you. I think you're frozen. Okay, there you go. Sorry. You said just where I went to college because it kind
Yeah,
of broke up.
you know, why'd you study zoology and, you know, just for people to know.
Gotcha. So I went to college at Mars Hill University, um,
Where's that at?
Mars Hill, North Carolina. It's kind of close to Asheville. It's not too far from Asheville. But I went there because they were one of the only, I think it's like one of 3 colleges in North Carolina that had zoology. And so I went to that one in 2013 and graduated in 2017. And I went there for zoology because, like, growing up, that's what I was always most fascinated with. And that's the, I guess, fascination that stuck the longest. Like, it's always something new to learn about them, and coming home and watching Steve Irwin and Jeff Corwin just kind of added fuel to that fire. And so it just became sort of like, I don't really know. I don't know the word I'm trying to find, but it's, I guess, a desire to learn more about them, and then where our environment is kind of or steadily decreasing. I think it's important to know, or for people to know, like what also is going along with the because you can easily just sit here and be like, oh, well, our trees are getting cut down. But until people actually see like what is going along with the trees, I don't think they'll really care, or they may not even know to begin with.
So it's just basic ignorance, really, behind it. Yeah, just
Right,
they see a tree fall, they just see a tree fall. They don't think about and the wildlife that's living amongst the trees, basically.
right. So like, and for example, I know I was talking to my grandmother some time ago, and we noticed that we started seeing a lot of deer, a lot more deer in our area, and we were trying to figure out where they were coming from because growing up here, for the time I was here, we never used to see deer, I guess, in our little area in the city.
Mhm.
But then we came to find out that they're cutting down trees somewhat nearby, which is displacing them. So I guess they're just trying to find a new home. So it's just like small little things like that that I guess people don't seem to notice.
Yeah, I mean, the part of Michigan that I live in, Michigan has a lot of deer in general, but like where I live at, I mean, I there are so many mornings throughout the year, even in the winter time, where I just look out my bedroom window and I'll see like a whole like family of deer. I don't know if that's the right terminology. I don't. You can tell I'm not the expert. I don't know what the actual word is, but I'll see like 4 or 5 of them just hanging out in my backyard any time of the year, really, just there and heading across the street and going wherever else they need to go. And recently, in the last few years, we've had a lot of coyotes migrate up here to Michigan. We used to never have them here. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Like, I've seen a few of them like walking across my driveway before, and I'm not scared of them because I guess the Department of Habitat, or I don't know what, every state has a different name for like the wildlife and the conservation of them, but like they put out a warning saying you don't have to worry about coyotes because they're typically scared of humans. And it's just, I never thought about like coyotes ending up here. I always figured they would be in a place like southwest in New Mexico or Arizona or like West Texas, which is pretty typical of where they're usually at.
Hmm.
But like, I mean, in studying like zoology and whatnot, have you ever noticed like patterns of animals ending up from one place to another that surprises people or even yourself even?
I remember when I learned that jaguars are actually in the United States. I was completely thrown off because I'd always associated them with um, more like Central America. And then I don't
Where
remember
the hell
what
are
I was.
where the hell are jaguars at in America?
They are in, if I remember correctly, Texas for sure. And then, hold on, let me see if I can not fail geography real fast. I think it's New Mexico or Arizona. It's one that's like directly connected to the left. I can't remember which one it is, but it's either New Mexico or Arizona. But like they show up there. And I was just kind of like, well, that's interesting. I've never heard at all. Like nobody said anything.
I mean, they usually don't say anything. They just get up and go someplace. But I mean, you know, I Texas is such an interesting place. If it's one random fact I like learned about Texas a couple months ago is that there are more tigers in Texas than there are in the rest of the world. There's somewhere around like 5 to 7 thousand tigers. Yeah, than there are in the rest of the world. And the reason for that is because I guess it's legal to own a tiger in Texas. Like almost all the tigers in, huh?
It wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, because if I remember reading it correctly on Google, is I googled it and it, tigers in Texas ownership or some shit like that. By the way, if you want to swear, just go right on ahead.
Gotcha.
But um, and it was something like a wildly cheap fee. It was somewhere around like 350 or $450 and one-time payment, and that's it. You own a fucking tiger in Texas. I couldn't even imagine just like, having like my pet tiger fully grown in my back seat. I get out of the car to pump gas or something, and some dude decides to just start talking crap, and the tiger just pops its head out. It's like, oh, this is Christopher right here. You have a problem with me? You're going through fucking Christopher right here.
No. Yeah, you have Raj with you at all times. Raj from Aladdin. Got him on protection at all times.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, no joke. I mean, just imagine a dude with like a gun or something, just trying to intimidate you, and you just all you gotta do is just be like, dude, did you just not see my pet tiger right here? Like, yo, man, you can empty that whole clip, and that tiger's still coming at you, man.
I I honestly don't know what I would do if I actually just looked in somebody's backseat and saw a tiger. Like, I don't know if I'd be intrigued, feel fear, like, be like,
The back seat, dude, just back fucking yard. Just stop somewhere at a stoplight. You just see a tiger just walking along circling around the backyard, and you're just looking, trying to register that in your head, and it's like, man, am I really seeing what I'm think I'm seeing right now? This dude has a fully grown tiger, and that tiger's not even making a run at his owner right now to like eat him. It respects the owner.
yeah, no. I definitely, I definitely have a few questions for that owner.
Hey man, as more as your as like more your Instagram page grows, I would just look into that, just like try and reach out to people that own tigers in Texas and make an episode out of it or something. That's just an idea right there.
I mean, honestly, yeah. Find
I would watch it.
exotic. There we go. Exotic wildlife owners. Just that actually be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I
I
have
mean,
to write that one down.
yeah, I would definitely look into that one, dude. I mean, what exotic wildlife owners of America? Just start here first. I mean, I mean, I've seen it here in Michigan of a dude owning like an alligator, two pythons. Like I've actually seen him with like his pythons on him, no like brace to like stop the mouth from like like opening up. No, it's just they're there, and I just couldn't help but think I need to just get as far away from this dude as possible right now because I can't help but just like be scared of those pythons.
That's understandable because I mean, like, when you grow up, that's you're kind of taught to, fear snakes just because a lot of people, don't know too much about them. They just know, oh, it can hurt me. But I think I remember there's an article some time ago, which I guess should be apparent, but may not be. Is like it's talking about how snakes have personalities. So you can have a snake that can be aggressive. You can also have a snake that would be extremely docile. They vary just like people do in that sense. But at the same time, when you have a snake that is known for squeezing and you're putting it around your neck, you're playing a very dangerous game.
Yeah, that's an absolute fuck no on my end right there.
Yeah, and especially when they're like, because you don't know if necessarily they've gotten it from the wild or it's been captive bred.
Mhm.
So if you get one from the wild, then yeah, you're definitely playing a dangerous game.
I guess that's a good segue into like another thing that you and I talked about privately in the DM chat was a lot of people. I count myself as one of those people as well as like, seeing not just like full grown animals, but even like the huntsman spider, like you mentioned to me. I mean, how likely is it that those types of animals would like attack or even try to defend themselves from a regular person like me? Because I would look at something like that, like a huntsman spider or like an animal I've never seen in person before and only on TV, like, and just probably react honestly with a little bit of more caution than usual. like I guess what I'm asking is there's a lot of people that are really ignorant just because they just have never seen these types of animals before. And do you think that there needs to be more pages like yours for more exposure to channels like Discovery, or I don't know what's like another popular animal channel on television right now, but like
What
that way
Discovery?
people, I'm sorry.
I was saying Discovery, Nat Geo, Animal Planet are usually the bigger ones.
Yeah. But I mean, it just still seems like a complete disconnect from like television to like seeing it in person. I mean, some people, just would have to react, and I'm one of those people. Is there just not enough education in general about those types of animals? And do you get what I'm
Um,
saying?
yeah, I think so, honestly, because I know when I was in middle school, when you would go to, I don't know, get out of school and go to Animal Planet, you would it'd be about animals. But nowadays, it, they have reality shows that honestly don't even seem to have anything to do with animals. I don't really watch TV anymore. I stopped in like high school, so I don't know if it's changed since the last time I was watching TV regularly. But there were it seems to kind of distance themselves from nature, even with Discovery, Animal Planet, Nat Geo. Occasionally, they'll have their specials, but for the most part, like when you go and look, they're usually all day they're just doing reality shows, which is causing a greater disconnect because you could go there and you could learn about Meerkat Manor, Big Cat, Big Cat Diary, Crocodile Hunter, Jeff Corwin Experience. They had all that going, usually midday, and it's kind of a problem because, like you said, it causes or it can create more ignorance because people don't have the same places to go to get that exposure. So, and with that disconnect, it's a little easier. Like I said, for like, oh, we're gonna tear down this forest. Okay, well, I don't really know what's living there. It just seems to be a bunch of trees. Go for it. Like people don't typically associate uh, the wildlife with the areas anymore. And with education of what is there, or I guess the more educated you become, the more you realize, like, oh, well, we do kind of need these because they're important for our ecosystem for X, Y, and Z. Like, or hey, there are vulnerable species here because if we do that, then we don't know what we're disrupting. For what's the stadium in the New York Giants stadium, for example?
Oh,
They removed
MetLife Stadium.
MetLife. They removed. I don't remember the exact measurement, but they removed a ton of stuff to put that there. But swampland is very important for filtering out pollutants before they re-enter water or re-enter the ocean. Like
Oh,
they're a great buffer for filtering out. So it's like, okay, you put MetLife there, and now you've just removed this big filter, this CO2 sink, and you now have football there,
see,
which cool.
yeah, see that I didn't even know that swamplands filter out all the toxins and not before it makes it to the rest of the waterways, like you just said. That's something that I never even thought about or even knew about right there. What you're seeing is that because of development of some areas that probably could have went elsewhere,
Mm-hmm.
the trade-off was that you're getting rid of the swamp that would have cleaned up a lot of the toxins and whatnot that would have made it into the water. So now because you put a football stadium there, it's only used half the time of the year. All of a sudden, there's no swampland to make elsewhere to make up for it.
Right, and it's used half the year for what, football, maybe used for concerts, and when people are going there, they're tossing their trash and litter, and so we got rid of something that beneficial to our water, our fresh water, for something that is causing more pollution. Well, I won't say that the stadium itself is causing more pollution, but as people go there, they're also littering and all that, so it incidentally causes more pollution.
They're contributing to it when they don't know it.
Right, exactly. And like you said, you didn't know about that with swamplands. How many other people don't?
Yeah,
Like, even if you,
I couldn't even find a number for that one, honestly. So studying
right,
zoology
because if you were
also,
to say like the average,
oh, the average person couldn't even tell you like the names of spiders. I I mean that the reason why I even mentioned the huntsman spider was because you told me about it, and I googled it regrettably, looked at the images, and I was like, all right, I'm turning off this page right now. I can't look at this thing. I can look at a python, no problem, but I cannot look at a huntsman spider.
that's the thing though, they're so large that they're intimidating, but they're not venomous. Oh, hold on, let me make sure I get that right.
You
They're
need
either
to
not venomous or they're like very minimally venomous. Like, but they're not harmful to humans in that sense.
okay.
So it's like huge spider that basically won't do you any harm, but we see it and we're like, no, right? Just off the rip, just because we don't know.
I'm still not testing my fate on that one.
That's fair. That's
Going back to the swampland though, that was replaced by MetLife Stadium. I didn't know this thinking about it now, but I guess there's a lot of environmental education when it comes to studying zoology, right?
right.
With that being said, do you think it's important? I'm going to throw a weighted question out here. Do you think it's important that more people would it would help them more to learn about the animals and where they are before they're so gung ho about development? Maybe.
I think that they don't, because if people knew, then they might go against the development. And we're, especially, I'll say, speak for America only because that's really the only country I know. We're a capitalist society, and so people don't want other people to get in the way of them making money a lot of the times. So that's something that they'll just kind of be like, oh well, let's kind of keep that to ourselves. That way we face less opposition. But I do think if more people knew, more people were educated, more people understood the importance of the species and the environments, then they would, give some sort of opposition to certain developments.
Mm-hmm. Not all development, just certain ones.
Right. And then of course there's always going to be the crowd that, just doesn't care whether they know or not. But like, I do think that the average person, majority of people would, I guess, voice their opinion or voice their concern if they actually knew.
Yeah. What happens to like a lot of the animals for like when development arrives? What happens to like where do they go after? Like I know it's a broad question because it's like it depends where the development is and like what types of animals and how they migrate and what their migration patterns are. But I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
more so like if there are people like say you for example that have like a vested interest, is there like an already like a plan set in place to like take, I don't know, I've seen the picture of like a guy just lifting up turtles before development arrives and placing them somewhere else where they can live still. Is there like any type of efforts going on that the animal, like the wildlife that's living in a place before development arrives can go somewhere else, and it's pretty much the same type of habitat for them.
That I'm honestly unsure of. That's something I've never personally looked into.
Hmm.
If I had to speculate, then I would say it kind of depends. I'm sure some people, if they knew, some people may try to relocate, um, and then some people may not care, and so they may just, for example, I guess palm forests in Borneo, Sumatra. Uh, when they're going through the forest and orangutans are there, sometimes they just plow straight through. They don't care. Like there are videos where the workers are plowing through the forest and there's just a dead orangutan, and that's a endangered species. So when you have other animals that are, I guess, not as endangered, or like least concerned animals, near threatened animals, those sorts of things, you do have some people that'll basically either just give them the same treatment, like, oh, who cares, just displace them. And then you may have some that may try to find a similar location because for some species, there may be another habitat that they can survive in. Or, but then you may also have species that are specific to that environment and don't do well in any other environment. And so those species could just be lost forever.
Um, so there's a common misconception that a lot of species go extinct because poaching is like the assumed answer in hunting. But here in Michigan, the state allows hunting for an extended period of time to actually control the population of deer, so that way there's not too many of them for certain reasons. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about then. But at the same time, you don't want to overdo it in some places. How would one weigh it out? Like basically say like if there's an endangered species, like but there's development in the way from that, or that's going to come in the way of them surviving in this habitat and there's nowhere else for them to go. I mean, there's not enough effort. So I guess really would development be like the number one reason why some species that were already endangered go out of?
Um, I I honestly, that's something I honestly haven't looked at.
Hmm.
Uh,
It's an
I
interesting
would,
I just thought of right now.
it may be honestly just because as humans are expanding, they expand out, so they were kind of encroaching. And first of all, let me say a disclaimer: like I don't know for sure. This is just me speculating, but like as we develop, we're spreading out and we're taking up more land and more environments. So we're displacing more animals, and then on top of that, we're already living. We're giving off pollutants and whatnot. So we're hurting other things that we may not necessarily come into direct contact to. So I guess our byproducts are also causing them trouble. So it's kind of like our development, yeah, technically would be because when I guess in that sense, just because um, as we develop, we're not doing it necessarily in a way, or I'll say certain places aren't doing it in a way that I guess respects nature around them. It's just like, all right, well, we want to do this, so we're doing it.
What are some
And,
places that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, you're okay.
What are some places that develop correctly that respects the nature around them? You want me to repeat it? Did you hear me?
You're frozen. I don't know if you
Oh,
can hear me.
Caleb, you hear me? Caleb?
There you go.
Okay. It's all good. Um, what places do development correctly where they respect the nature and the environment? So, I mean, if there are places that aren't doing it correctly, there's got to be places that are doing it correctly.
Right, or places that are trying to or
Develop.
trying to. I'm not sure which country it is, but there's a country in Europe where they they built a highway, and you know when you build highways, sometimes you'll cause like habitat fragmentation. So you'll have like a population of species X over here and species X over here, and now that the highway is going through their environment, they can't. This population can't get to this population safely, so it can cause like a disjunct population or disjunct. It can cause the population to separate.
Yeah.
There is a European country, I cannot remember which one, and I don't want to say the wrong name. But what they did was they built a highway through a hill, and they left a land bridge, like a natural, semi-natural land bridge over top of the highway.
I know what you're talking about. Like the entire, I've seen the picture where they actually have like a whole grass knoll going over the entire hill. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Know what like, that is as well, actually. I've seen that same picture and I thought what a great idea that was.
Right, because now you can develop while you're also while leaving them a chance to, you know, still I guess interact, keep without causing too much disruption. There you
you're
go.
not causing separation and disruption. Yeah. That's interesting. Well,
and then you do have sorry. And then you do have some, and the stories of these I've seen are just like random people, but you do have people out there that are planting forests. Like, I think it was a couple in Brazil. I saw a picture of. They spent some years literally replanting a forest by themselves, and then there was some guy in Asia, a singular man, who over I think it's like 2 decades planted trees to the point where he also made a forest by himself. So, and then I know I want to say it's Nepal, but I'm unsure. Whenever they celebrate, there's some sort of celebration they have where they literally just go out and plant trees. Right. So I think it's for one of their royalties' birthdays. I hope that's not wrong. I really hate spreading misinformation, so I try to like not.
It's all good. We live in a society with information right now. Nobody knows what's what. So I mean, just go for it.
So I try my best to minimize the misinformation that comes out of my mouth, but I am human, so it happens sometimes. But like I'm pretty sure for one of their like royal family members' birthdays, they will literally go out and plant trees.
That's pretty cool, actually. I mean, I know there's a city, now that I think about it, there is a city in California that does the same thing. I think it's somewhere in Northern California where they do the exact same thing but it's like just to celebrate the history of the city. Yeah. Where it really is like the grade schools and whatnot. I saw this years ago, I think, now I'm remembering it correctly, where, you know, it's almost like from like third graders to like basically up to like high schoolers all go out together to like plant trees together and whatnot for the whole day. Yeah, it's a pretty cool product. I remember seeing the photos now. I think it's somewhere near Stanford University, now that I think about it, because they have the geography for it. But I'm going to ask a really obvious question. I think any person that knows someone with a zoology degree would ask. Like, do you have like a list of like your favorite species?
I do. I definitely have. I have my top 3 list, and then from there, I do have like I guess favorites, but they're not ranked. So my top 3 would be the common raven, the Corvus corax. Uh, the I don't have a specific elephant, but just elephants.
Yeah,
And then
too.
they're so cool. And then the bottlenose dolphin, Tertial truncatus.
Where do you find those at? Miami?
Um, honestly, like they're all over. They're
Really?
all throughout the ocean.
I've never seen a dolphin in my life, honestly.
I haven't either. They're usually like coastal, except for I think the sightings are usually coastal. Um, but I honestly haven't spent much time at the coast, so I haven't seen them. I have seen a manatee, but I've not seen a dolphin.
Damn. That reminds me of a video I saw the other day on Instagram of some guys just like I forgot where they're at. I think it was somewhere like in British Columbia on the coast somewhere. And you know, it's already kind of warm out now, depending where you're at, but they're just on their boat, just riding on the water, and up just comes a killer whale just following them right behind their boat, just swimming along right behind with them. Yeah, and it was like the perfect shot. And even the guy holding the camera was like, "Man, you really cannot get shots this clear with a killer whale like just behind them like this, just basically like not doing anything else." And it was like these types of shots are just so rare to get.
I gotta find that video now.
If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Have you seen the one? I don't know which type of whale it is, but there were women in a kayak, I believe it was, and the whale comes up.
Yep.
Do I now?
It was in Seattle. Oh yeah, those two girls were flipping out, man.
I mean, I would be too, for being honest, because like you're just sitting there, you're chilling, you're kayaking, and all of a sudden you're flipped and you see just a huge mass come out of the water.
Oh man. Oh man.
It's anxiety before. That would be the moment.
You got me thinking twice about going kayaking out there. No, that's a hard no for me now.
I mean, that's a rare occasion though. So, and of course, where it's a whale, you know, a whale's gonna realize it's you and be like, I'm not. I don't eat you. What are you doing here? Like, so you'd be safe, but yeah, that would definitely be a scary incident.
Well, I mean, I guess like I'll ask like the next question is, I mean, since your page is growing so much, so fast, like what's ahead of you? Like, what do you have planned ahead? Do you plan on expanding on the page and making something of it?
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out, especially like the last couple of weeks, how to, because initially the page was literally, I didn't have any plans for it to grow, to be followed, anything like that. I literally just started it because I wanted to do my like own personal online encyclopedia of animals. And so, which is funny because if you go back and look at the like very first posts, the way they're written are significantly different than how they're written now. So, but that's all it was supposed to be, was just an online encyclopedia. And then people started following it out of nowhere. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I should probably cater the information just a little, make it more readable and less just like data driven. And then now everybody's, or not everybody, but like 12,000 people are there. And so people are asking like, oh, you should put some of your personality on the page. Like, what, you should put more of you on the page. And I was just kind of like, but it's an encyclopedia. I'm not supposed to be on it.
It defeats the purpose.
So Right. And so like I I have been thinking of trying to expand it. I know like if I do put videos of myself, like say I go to a zoo or something, I wouldn't put it in the posts section because you know how you can do like IGTV
Mhm.
posts. You they won't be listed in the I guess the other posts.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, so you can separate. I may do that